Welcome to this episode of Sooner Legends Podcast. I'm your host, Mike the Legend. And if you don't mind, if you're new to the channel, hit that red subscriber button, wipe your feet, hit the like button, smash that post notification bell. That way you won't miss any notifications. And I am going to bring in my special guest, a guy who hasn't been at the house in a while, and we're all glad to see him, from Unfair Sports, Coop. My guy, how you doing, brother?
I think there needs to be, for me to get big announcements like that, I need more syllables in my name, because you got to, that Coop is not a very good chantable name. But man, doing good. Wife just made some homemade cookies. Everybody's we did a little fresh caught salmon, and just a good eating night, man. Just which is what only thing that really you can put this weather to use is just a good eating night.
Yeah, exactly. Eat and eat well. I'm jealous now because I had fish sticks.
Oh, well, yeah. Sorry, I said salmon. I meant trout. But yeah, man, I just, I love this weather, good chilly weather. But we've been through with the snow. We went through the chili, went through the deer chili, went through the chicken noodle soup and everything. And so, but that's the type of year that you get through when you don't got any really great football to be watching for your team, so you just eat.
Exactly. Well, Coop, the rumors are flying, and I'm trying not to get excited. I said it in my video earlier today that I'm kind of reading tea leaves, and there's a lot of speculations and rumors about Jim Knowles for Ohio State. What's your thought on that, brother?
Listen, man, it's if you want me to say something that is going to make you feel better about Jim Knowles, this is a very, very, very real thing. Actually, in talking with guys today, some people have said it looks like it's leaning that way. One person said this thing's done, and I think Laurinaitis would be elevated to DC over there at Ohio State. Some people saying that there's not a chance at all. So I mean, if you want to hear what's going to make you feel good about having Jim Knowles here, it is very, very, very good possibility. If you want to, maybe see Brent Venables taking over, that can very well still happen. There's going to be a conversation, and it is, hey, how does Ohio State feel about Laurinaitis taking over at DC? And do they want to put up the fight for, Jim Knowles? Because kind of like we're seeing in the transfer portal, Mike, it's sometimes you're going to, how do I phrase this? Sometimes you're going to have the opportunity, and where does he want me to share this in his? Yeah, sure. Go for it, Stevie. But sometimes you're gonna have the opportunity to get somebody, and the dollar figures and the little pieces of stuff look good if the the nuts and bolts of it look a specific way, and if the nuts and bolts look a different way, it's not worth it. So I mean, it's just like everything else in this life. So I would say this is kind of a crazy thing. I mean, if anything, this would be a great look for Oklahoma. It'd be a tough look for Ohio State, just nationally. There'll be a lot of people who the ball knowers are going to love just the dynamics of, like, how does Jim Knowles and Brent Venables defenses work together? And that's just going to be it. I mean, there's going to be a lot of conversations going around, if this thing happens. And guess what, Mike? I don't have Alexa cooked up in my office right now, but we've got ourselves a good, 200 and some odd days until football gets played again. Yeah. So this is going to be something that carries us. And so now for a second time in 3 years, you go 6-7, and there's still this much to talk about in Oklahoma football after a lackluster year. That just shows you what the brand is, because people are still, they want the next, the hopium. hook it right up to my veins. You gotta get the hopium. Going from, man, we may lose every single damn game next year to, all right, this is pretty crazy. But anyway, so for our Ohio State champs friend here, it is a 50-50 chance. There is, there is a very, very good chance that this thing happens. There's a chance it doesn't happen. There's a chance. Listen, man, I've heard a couple people say that there's a chance that Wes from Clemson and Jim Knowles are both on this staff this coming year. And that would be insane. So all that to say, this is we get to find out here pretty soon.
Exactly. And Coop, this was just me not reading tea leaves, but just looking at what's going on. Let's go through the mind of the legend here. When Goodwin got fired from Clemson, I thought with the BV connection at Clemson that he would immediately be at OU. Well, that ain't happening now, or so far. I wouldn't mind going internal and getting Brandon Hall because he is a proven defensive coordinator from Troy. Very defense, but that hasn't happened. And so when Jim Knowles was asked in the press conference about the rumors to Oklahoma, I don't want to say deflected, but he didn't give an outright answer to it. So that's what got me to thinking, Coop.
Well,
about the Knowles thing.
One of the fun things about what we do here is there's a chance that a really cool story ends up being fully made up, and there's a chance that even more amazing story ends up being the truth. From what I understand is how things are being ran, and Clemson is doing it a different way. Dabo's doing it a different way. They just got their first portal transfer, since the portal has come into existence. That's that's a choice. That's a path. When you make that choice in that path, I'm assuming that it was not unanimous amongst the coaching staff. And I'm sure that it was not something that everybody fully agreed on, but that's that's kind of where Dabo took it. And so if you're a DC like Wes Goodwin, and that sometimes you're playing a different game than everybody else that's competing with you is playing. You just watched SMU switch conferences, take no payout, and go to the conference championship game to play you. But at the same time, like, that's crazy. So I just say this is, if I'm Wes Goodwin and I'm sitting there and I have chosen to speak my mind, something comes up like the OU opportunity, that becomes an opportunity. I heard that it got out a little bit, and that's when Clemson started their little train. The thing is, and I'm going to end this rant on this piece, is the thing is, Mike, is you've got what's really happening and being reported. You have rumors being reported. You have an Oklahoma side to things, a Clemson side to things, an Ohio State side to things. And there's all these things happening. I mean, like, as our boy Ohio State champs here, I think here last Sunday, he came on maybe our show and said, hold on a second, what am I hearing? Well, I mean, obviously you know what you're hearing because you're on this OU podcast randomly in the middle of January. But like, there's a lot of Ohio State people that don't even know that this is a thing yet. There are a lot of Oklahoma people who are, printing out shirts and coming up with clever podcast names. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this is it. I think that there's a good chance that, the way I look at it is, if I had to put my money on it, I think he probably ends up at Oklahoma, and we've got a pretty cool staff going into it. And I believe it might've been Kim said, it doesn't really matter because I think our defense is going to be pretty damn good this coming next year anyway. And on top of that, I don't know that in an all-in year, I've heard Gabe and Teddy said it. I've heard, Carrie and Josh and Eddie and George all say it. I've heard Parker and Brandon say it. But I mean, if you had an all-in year, wouldn't you want Brent Venables as your DC, like making all those calls, making sure that that's 100% there? So it's just I mean, it's a cool opportunity. So I think that that's the most likely one. I think the second one is Wes Goodwin comes on the staff at some point. There's some kind of shared duties, whether it's Hall and him, or BV and him, or BV and Hall and him. So that's option 2. Option 3 is they elevate Brendan Hall, and he does that. I don't think that that's what he's wanting right now, but they do that. Or number 3 or 4 is it's just BV. And I guess there's a 5 that you go after somebody else, but I think that would already have happened at this point if that was an option.
Well, here's what I get excited about Jim Knowles. Now, I'm going to throw up in my mouth a little bit on this one. Is if you looked when he was DC at Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State's defense was a top 10 defense when he was DC. And then when Ryan Day hired him in 2021 and he went to Ohio State, he has turned Ohio State into the number 1 defense. And, everywhere that Knowles has been, he's been successful. And one thing that I love is how he runs his defense. He's based off a 4-2-5 scheme. He's set up for what am I looking for? Fast tempo offenses. He will go to a 4-3, and he also has a package called the double eagle where he'll run a 5-man front with three defensive tackles. So I like his methods, so to speak.
Yeah, and I would say this too. He took that group of very, very senior laden, older players at Oklahoma State, and he made them something spectacular.
Yeah.
Just saying this, we still, I think, threw up like 40 on them that year that they were really, really good. 37, something like that. Yeah. But I will say this, that like, with that being said, like he has a better way to get after more of a pressure front, and you can have great back end players. You see how he was using the safety transfer. I always forget his dadgum name from
I do too.
But you see how he's using him down in the box. Like that's how you're probably going to have Caleb Downs. That's how you're probably going to have a Mike Boganowski or an RSJ or a Peyton Bowen or an RP3, one of those safeties. You're going to have one of those guys, come down and be able to play that. Like Billy Bowman would have been a pretty cool deal, to see him playing that way. But when you think back to the Ohio State, great defenses, the Bosa brothers, what's his name? Who went to I think Jones went to the Commanders. Like all those guys, they were just, they're bigger, taller defensive ends. They're D tackles. Those guys do a lot of yeoman's work. I just think that next year with R. Mason Thomas, Jane Jackson's going to be a little bit better. David Stone's going to take his jump. You still have Don Williams coming in, Grayson Halton. You got all of those guys. You add Marvin Jones Jr., and Marvin Jones Jr. is a guy that's kind of like Jaden Gibson, who he just needed some time to mature a little bit. And he took it on towards the end of the year this past year. And I mean, I'm just not going to lie. When Marvin Jones hit the transfer portal, I know a lot of people get excited about the old 5-star defensive lineman. You get, kind of jacked up on that one, and you think you're going to get, 10, 15 sacks coming. Well, I was really, really pessimistic about him. But as I kind of listened to some of the Florida State people, I did some more studying up on the film. Like he actually started doing a great job. And so I think that this is his year to really set it off. So now you've got 2 defensive ends. You got great D tackles. You're going to be able to do that, put that pressure on these quarterbacks. We're going to be facing 6 first-time starters with their team quarterbacks this year in 25. And, I mean, at least 6. so there's going to be a decent amount of people who, if you put a lot of pressure on them, I mean, just think the South Carolina game versus us. Imagine us being the South Carolina in that situation and just putting an absolutely, not just like the last 10 minutes of the game where our Mason just all of a sudden, goes Super Saiyan and goes crazy, but think of just doing that from, down in and down out. And that also doesn't include, Adebaware getting healthy. That doesn't include Nigel Smith taking a jump. That doesn't include anybody else really making a leap. So I want to see this defense. Brent Venables is already, one of the most, multiple defensive minds. You add Jim Knowles in here, and it's something completely different. You got two great defensive minds. It's somebody that Brent Venables can basically go, I can go CEO this mother over here for a little bit, and I'm good. So I don't think that that's the case if there's a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Max, I think that part of the situation with Jim Knowles is the fact that he's not going to be able to just put together his own staff. Like, he may have a few guys, because I think that there's one or two on the defensive side of the ball, that mainly just one, that may not be there anymore, or maybe looking to leave also. So I don't think he's going to be bringing a lot of people. I would say maximum number of 2 people with him, and that are coaches. Now, if he brings like grad assistant guys who were great, a couple years ago, so I mean, but maybe look at defensive backs coach. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he is he's a stud. And so I think that might be it, because I know Jay Valai is kind of, wanted to kind of stretch his oats, and he moves around frequently. So that might it, but I don't see Todd Bates leaving. Right. I definitely don't see Larry Johnson leaving Ohio State at this point in his career to go somewhere new. I don't see Chavis leaving. I don't think Chavis is going anywhere. I would say that maybe if he just, he coaches linebackers, and if Laurinaitis is going to probably be the elevation at Ohio State, then I'm guessing that there's no linebacker coaches coming with him outside of himself. We're not moving Hall, so that kind of just leaves Valai.
Right. Let me ask you this, and I already know the answer to it, but in case the people in the chat don't know, if it does happen with Jim Knowles, what would he recruiting wise, what would he bring to OU?
I mean, Jim Knowles is no spring chicken. He is an older guy. Here's what I do think is, I don't think he's doing a lot of recruiting. I think if anything, it shows, you can kind of point towards his success, immediate. Hey man, I just led my defense to the national championship game. And then secondly, I would say, you're going to have younger guys like Laurinaitis, BV getting out there. So here's the thing. I think you don't think that there's going to be a massive need for him to be a rock star in the recruiting trail, but he might just be one of those guys who shows up and just shows up and does his own thing. So whenever he needs to, he can step in on a recruit. He's got name. He's got a success, a history of success. So I mean, the recency is going to be great. And then the opportunity, again, this defense was respectable this year, so that's going to be great too. You've got some younger guys who are going to really be, taking big steps. So this defense, with everything that's happened here, this defense really has taken a step.
Well, we got Coach Ricks in with us. Coach, how you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. How's everybody going?
We're doing good. We're sitting here talking about the possibility of Jim Knowles to OU. What's your take on it, Coach?
I don't think it's a possibility. I think it's a done deal. Just my thought. You can't wait this long and not have something in place. So everything's pointing in the right direction. If he comes, that's a great thing. I think him and Brent run a variation of the same defense. So it would be easy for BV to step aside. I believe he trusts Knowles enough to know what to do, and he can become a real CEO for the program for the first time.
Yeah, that's my thought. I was going to mention that to Coop that he does run a variation of a BV system, so that will help out really good. But like Coop said, as far as on recruitment, he's no spring chicken.
Well, hey, Coop, I got a question for you, Coop.
Yeah.
I might have missed it. You might have already covered this and everything, but do you think that it would be a good idea for BV to turn everything over to Jim Knowles, thinking that this might be his last season if everything doesn't go right?
He has to. You don't bring Jim Knowles in to tinker. Like if you still have Zach Alley here, or you elevate Hall, I think that you can have an argument for tinkering and being in there and messing around. But I mean, I think when it comes time to, prep for the game, you can give in your input. But once you're installing game plan, I think if you're BV, you back off at that point. Because, with Jim Knowles, this is a guy who has done it at the same level that you have. And you don't coach that person the same way as if, it's somebody that you're, kind of trying to bring up, in kind of the fashion that you want. So if I'm Brent Venables, I get through the spring and then say, all right, Jim, this is yours. Have at it. And then you step away.
I'm going to take a second right quick. I normally don't ban people from my channel, but Grey God has been banned because I'll be damned if somebody's going to come on my channel and disrespect my guests. And he can say what he wants, but I'll be damned if anybody disrespects my guests. And I already know what it's over.
Well, I have nothing to say about that. But anyway, yeah. Coach Ricks, what do you think about it? I mean, your question. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I think the same thing that you just thought. You can't bring someone of that magnitude in that has gotten his team. You got to think about it. They have the #1 defense in the nation. So you have to turn him loose. Why bring him here to hold him hostage and handcuff him to run something that he doesn't have the capability of running? Most times, BV wants to get guys that knows his type of defense, his scheme. But if you get two great defensive minds in the same room, that's very dangerous.
It is.
That's very dangerous. Because there's something that BV might can learn from Jim Knowles and everything. We're not sitting here thinking that BV is see all be all, but at the same point in time, sometimes you got to take a step back and reevaluate everything. Times have changed. Those days of running those 4-3 defense, those days are over because everyone wants to spread the ball out. So that's when you have your hybrid defensive backs and things like that. So it's a great chance for him to relinquish the power and let somebody else run it.
Yeah. And here's another thing is you're not bringing him in for like $1.2 million a year or anything like that. Like this number is going to get pretty big. In however that fashion happens. And if he comes in here and he's making $3 million, you didn't pay him that so he could come and be micromanaged. You're going to let him rip. He knows what you're going to want to do. And to be honest with you, I think it's a cheat code because what defensive coordinator really can say that like the head coach that they work under is probably the same level as them as far as like their side of the ball and their craft. And it's a great set of second eyes, on some things. And so, here's what I don't think I've heard this take from anybody, but one of the things that's really, really frustrated me about Oklahoma football for a couple of years has been the really, really bad halftime adjustments. I would expect our defensive halftime adjustments are going to be freaking money this year. Hopefully we don't need many of them, but at the same time, that's what I'm going to go ahead and say is like, I 100% believe that, whether you brought in, Wes or whether you bring in Jim, it's going to be a really, really good opportunity because you've got some minds that can come together and kind of, say, hey, listen, this is what I'm seeing. And you got a lot of qualified people taking looks at it.
Yes. And I don't know what the contract's going to entail or nothing. All I know is, Coop, is looking from what I'm seeing, I would be excited for Knowles to come and be our DC, but on the flip of a coin, if he don't come, I won't be upset. I won't be throwing things through my TV. I won't be kicking a dog and a cat and all of that. So, but
no more kicking the dog. We have had our conversations with you about kicking the dog, but it's gotta stop.
Yeah, you don't kick a dog.
Hey, Coop, I got one more question for you.
Go for it.
Had someone on my podcast. We had a great debate about West, not being a great defensive coordinator. And I was always trying to, just be optimist. I'm all about X's and O's. My point was the reason why Wes Goodwin was not a great defensive coordinator those last few years is because when you have a coach that is not allowing you to go into the portal and get players to keep up with the masses, it's kind of hard to have high school kids that are in year 1 or 2 going up against portal kids that are 3 or 4 years in the program with the nutrition and things like that. Do you back that, or is there another reason why you think Wes Goodwin had a bad 2 to 3 seasons at Clemson?
I mean, I can say a couple different things. Like I actually, that was my very first point when we started today was why would Wes want to leave? Well, Wes might want to leave because he looks at, in the old days, you could look at the scope of your defense and be like, well, our defensive line's pretty good, man. If we really just either got some great development out of that younger D tackle, or if a grad transfer came in somehow, like that would be it. Like, so we'll have to just wait. We're going to be good, but we got to let this defense kind of earn and proof itself and grow. And that was the way that you did it. Well, now that's still the way that Clemson is trying to do it. While the next coach over goes, screw growing. Let's go give that guy $1.5 million and let's put him on our defensive line. And we'll take that young guy and we'll let him reach his new heights as a backup and a depth piece. And everybody else is cheat coding. And you're sitting here, hoping for your, for good rain and sunny days for your crop to grow. And so, I just personally think that I think, I want to say it was Teddy had said about a month ago. He's like, he just hasn't had the same guys at Clemson that they had in the years where they were, competing in the national championship games. And that's true, but it's not because they weren't recruiting him. It's just the fact that everybody else is skipping beats in some occasions. And the defense was, look at what we've dealt with. This year was the best year offensively they've had in the past 3 years. But last year and the year before that, both of those were really, really rough. Really, really rough. And your defense is going to be on the field a whole hell of a lot more. And again, another thing that people always forget too is when your offense is really, really bad, the opposing team's offense lines up against your defense and says, we got the whole playbook at our disposal all game long because they're never going to run away from us. And when you have a competent offense who is scoring points like they did under Trevor Lawrence and Watson, and going even further back, but when you've got that offense, your defense has a chance to be an attacking style defense because they're going to have to keep up with your offense. And so you put them in spots where they're one-dimensional. Whereas if you have a crappy offense, your defense is just out there just busting their ass just to try to hope to God that they can get a turnover or maybe even a scoop and score or a pick six because that your offense is not very good. So I'm with you, Rick. I think it's 100%. When you're not going out and doing those things, there's that. And then, you get negative recruited too, just with the broadcast rights of the ACC and stuff like that. And your whole conference is about to fall apart. That also doesn't help. And then even on top of that, you're trying to everybody else is recruiting against you and saying, listen, man, Clemson's been great on defense for the longest time. But if you go there and you need one corner piece, like we're going to bring it to you. So if you came here in year 2, you need a running mate next to you, we'll go get somebody. They need a 5-star to pan out immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because this is the reason why South Carolina was so good this year. South Carolina didn't mind giving up the bag to go into the portal and getting those guys out of
Very
South
much.
Carolina, out of Charlotte, out of the regions that are around me that normally get those Clemson players. So now that Clemson has finally opened up the bag and going into the portal, you're not going to have South Carolina being that good no more because those players are going to start going back to Clemson like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I mean, again, when it's the offense for us this past year, you got so many different things that are wrong. Like, how do you expect one tinker to fix it? Well, same thing with that Clemson defense is, number one, you're not utilizing the portal. Number two, the guy who built that defense left. Number three, your offense is really struggling. And number four, you're getting negative recruited because of your portal habits. And so now, I mean, they kicked one of those things. Does this make a difference? I'm not quite sure because I don't know if that offense is going to be better next year.
Right.
No.
Well, let me ask y'all this, you and Coach. With everybody, with all this hot seat talk, is Dabo on a hot seat? Should he be on a hot seat?
I don't think he is now. The border regions, and like I said, I have family on that staff, and what they are saying is he's finally come to fruition that he has to go into the portal. If he
Yeah, I
doesn't go
got
into the portal, and South Carolina keeps getting these players, and North Carolina kept getting these players, and Georgia getting all these players that are coming out of that pipeline around Clemson, Dabo won't be there that much longer.
Yeah.
No matter how good he was.
And I mean, you're still talking about a program in Clemson that, and Coach Ricks, you're closer. So if I'm dead wrong, you tell me. But like the psychosis that comes with following Oklahoma football or Texas football or Ohio State football,
It's the same
Miami,
here.
things like that. It's like in Clemson, they got to that way not because of just a couple years that they were starving, and then when Dabo finally took over, like that was it. It was because at first it was, well, can Clemson shake the monkey and really just win the big game? I just think that, man, I think that they're to a spot now to where they have ran stuff for so long, and I think that when you make the playoffs and you go and you kind of just find yourself looking at another team that you're going, that's it, we're not there. That's when you start, so I think that they're probably going to say, hey, you know what it took to get there? Let's get back there. If they don't get back there, then I think Dabo starts heating up. Right now, I mean, I would say that he's probably, of all the big name coaches around the country, I mean, he's well down the list.
Mm-hmm. Well, Koopy, I know you have probably about 10 minutes or so left with us. There's one subject I would like to touch on that I have been hearing and believing is our new golden child from Wazoo, John Mateer, and how he's doing in winter workouts. I'm hearing a lot of good things about him, brother.
I promise you this. This year, I think, and everybody here in the chat, hold me to it. This year, I think I'm going to be extremely hesitant to ever really hop into, underwear Olympics or, scrimmages that nobody's looking at and stuff like that before I start losing my shit and going, oh man, he's going to be it. But
I love the underwear Olympics.
there's a difference. There's a difference from a play here and a play there, and playing in a bowl game that was 50-50, opportunity with Jackson Arnold coming in this year. You saw all these receivers around him. You saw all the talent, and really going into it, it was, okay, we're going to go as far as our offensive line goes.
Yeah.
All the injuries happened. The offense coordinator stuff happened. Jackson Arnold's kind of just, stagnant growth happened. And so I'll just stop right there.
Yeah.
because that takes away anything. But going in this year, I'm going to be very, very, very pessimistic about things that seem like hearsay. Now,
Yeah.
Do I know that John Mateer is out there and just has it when it comes to like leadership? Yes. And I don't care what kind of, gray elephant sitting under a rain cloud that you are. Not talking about anybody specific. But he leads men. People follow him and follow him pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Also, Jackson was a projection. John Mateer actually has played people and put up great numbers. He comes through systems. He is a guy who is getting all the Baker Mayfield stuff. He's getting all the Baker Mayfield comps. So, same thing as I say at the beginning of fall camp, the defense should be winning.
Yeah.
At this point in the year, you are playing underwear Olympics, throwing on air. The offense should look good. You have issues if neither of those things are true. So I will say this: John Mateer, he's got the physical tools. He's intelligent. He gets people to follow him. It's been unanimous from a lot of people who often report on. Sometimes it kind of seems like the same report, just changed here, there. He's just getting it. He's just getting it.
What you think about, Coach?
I don't want to read too much into it, man, because we were here last year. I've seen that movie before. I've seen that movie before, and it was a terrible ending. So I hope the sequel is a lot better. But I think he's a lot better because he's been in this role before. Moxie is some things. It's a certain thing that you can't coach. You can't teach. Some people have it. They always say he has that it factor or she has that it factor. Well, he has that. But I think coming to Oklahoma now, you think about this. He's never had the kind of weapons he has now at Oklahoma where he was at.
Right.
Yeah.
So to come here and you leave a Pinto and now you have a Bentley, that's a hell of an upgrade.
Yeah.
Man, I'll even take a Hellcat or like a Tesla at this point. I mean, let's just be honest. Like that side of the ball, there ain't spinning rims on that side of the ball, Coach Rick. So that side of the ball, you're still hoping for a decline so that you can get this son of a gun up and running. Little jump start.
Yeah,
but you know what?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
As long as this is basic, as long as I don't even. Some say we need to be in the top. So what number? Just make the defense be a little bit more consistent.
Yeah,
that's all we need. We need the defense not to be on the field for a long period of time.
Yeah. Left ass cheek, Coach.
Pretty much it.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying, Coach, left ass cheek all day.
Man, y'all stupid. Hey, I'm coming on through the camera now, man. I'm trying to catch Coop before he leaves because I got a question to ask him before he gets up out here.
Go ahead.
You need to see me face the mustache, and if you're looking,
great.
There is some nonsense going on here.
No, I got it. I had to get off the phone. Hey, quick question. Do you think, and I know the answer because I was talking to someone that's on the board of regions at Clemson. I know for a fact that we are going to get Wes. I believe he's going to be an analyst, something and everything, but they're trying to hold and find out if Jim Knowles does come, what he's going to want first, who he's going to want to bring, because that was my biggest fear. If he does come, are we going to lose some of the key staff members that we have on defense? And I don't know if you covered it already because I might not have jumped in or not, but is there anyone on defensive staff that we might be losing if Jim Knowles does come?
So here's my thought is I feel like maybe Jay Valai might be the only one. And it's just because I know that currently right now, Laurinaitis would be the linebackers coach. He'll probably be the one that gets the elevation to DC unless they decide to go take a look at some NFL jobs or NFL folks. Their defensive backs coach and somebody please help me out. His name escapes me. I can see his face. But like their defense backs coach is a guy that it would be an absolute solid hire. I would say, and Jay Valai is known to be a little bit of a, somebody who's looking for a new job and get moving. And just personal experience, like in the corporate world.
Tim Walton.
Yes. So, in personal experience, there's some coaches who they do really, really good, but it is to be a good coach year one is something that is special. To be a good coach for like a string of years in a row is something that's very, very tough to do, because once people learn how to attack you, it's continuing education. And I think Valai is one of those guys who does a really, really great job, but he needs to be moving, here and there.
Yeah.
I don't think that you lose Bates, and I definitely don't think that that LJ would leave Ohio State at this point in his career. He's a guy who was a legend at Ohio State, Larry Johnson. I just don't think that's it. That's going to happen. Maybe the DN's coach, because Chavis has done a great job here, and I love Miguel Chavis, and I swear to God, I will hate the day that he leaves. I just don't know if that's an option. I don't think Coach Hall is a candidate to leave, and I'm guessing that a mixture of Knowles, BV, and Skalski are probably going to take the linebackers. So, I'm saying DNs and linebacker. DNs and DBs are probably the only two that have the opportunity.
Do you think that he would take the job if there was a stipulation that the defensive coaching staff has to stay?
That the entirety of the defensive coaching staff?
Well, I'm pretty sure that BV has his, he wants to keep Chavis, he wants to keep Bates, Hall.
Oh yeah.
You
So do I think that Jim Knowles, if he was told like, hey, you're the only one coming, it's going to be this, and we're also bringing Goodwin on, and this is our staff, like take it or leave it. If he gets just to go out there and coach, I think that's going to be something that he would love to do. He doesn't,
because then you
because at the same time,
then you ain't got the recruit, because they're going to go get the guys that you need. And I heard what you said about West. You're absolutely right. That four-headed monster that was at Clemson, you can't replicate that when BV left. BV was, let me tell you how important BV was. BV pretty much ran Clemson. Dabo was just a face.
Listen,
that's just I
went to a work event in July at I'll think of where it was, Greenville, South Carolina. And the people who won the competition that we had put on were huge Clemson fans, donors, big stuff like that. The kid, when we kind of got outside of just work life and we started talking about sports, and he was like, oh yeah. And he turns around and he shows me a picture of him and BV, and he shows me a picture of him and, Brent's son. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. I was like, fun fact, I actually do an Oklahoma football podcast, and that we sat there and talked forever. And just it's like when you heard the Fasusi recruitment, that like, Fasusi was always talking about Bill Beatonbow, and he was always talking about his position coach as being the greatest. And then he just talked about Texas in general. Yeah. And so like, that was kind of how BV was there. As Dabo was great and all, but really the defense is what everybody knew. The defense was what was winning those championships, because everybody was pretty quiet and pretty scared. So, I would just say BV was a big deal. And, it's kind of like Jeff Lebby. Jeff Lebby was our offensive coordinator, had us, where we were, and everybody wanted to send him to the woods. Mac Brown gets sent to sent out to the pasture. Frank Solich gets taken to the train station. Sometimes fan bases and universities, they just make choices, and they don't really realize what they have. And it's very, very, very hard to come back when you have a guy like Brent Venables at the DC and then go, well, what's the next guy going to do? Because I promise you this, if Brian Hartline ever leaves Ohio State and goes and takes an OC job at Purdue or somewhere, the next receiver coach, he's got some shoes to fill.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a tough job to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Coop, I think you gotta. It's you said you had to jump out at 7:45.
Yeah, Jay and I are about to hit it up here at 8:00. So,
Well, hey, Coop, I'm just glad you came in for 45 minutes, brother. I hope I haven't seemed bothersome to you getting you on the show and everything.
Oh no, it's okay. This is your. So if you guys wonder, somehow Mike is thinking stupid thoughts, and he's like, I should have Coop on my podcast, and then he starts asking me. But sometimes it's like, hey, you want to go here in like 30 minutes? I'm like, well, Mike, I actually have 5 meetings back to back to back here in the middle of the day. I'd love to, but I can't because I don't have the heart just to ignore you and just to not respond.
I know.
And there'll be times I have my phone on do not disturb for 8 to 10 hours. And I usually have somebody from podcasting, somebody from the university, a parent, and then like my family all like, why have you been MIA for like 6 straight hours? And I'm like, let's look at my calendar. So no, I mean, I appreciate being able to come on and just, like I said, sometimes you're like, hey, Eric. And then I start talking. And you're like, well, see you later, buddy.
But Coop, I always appreciate you coming on, buddy. And I think it would be best if I have you on the show to do late in the evening when you're, providing that you're not with family or So I appreciate you coming. Coop, you are the first guest on my show, by the way, when I started last year. Yeah, you was the first live guesting. So
that's why your growth has been hampered so much.
You'd
have 10,000 subscribers if it was just Coach Ricks. You brought me on, and people are like, hey, wait.
No,
but Coop,
I'm not important.
As soon as I'm done here, I'll hop on and chat it up in your Chat on You and Jay show, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, I appreciate it, and then everybody in the chat, man, love you guys. Fatty, Chuck, Jimmy, Sooner Cowboys, even your Eeyore ass, love you to death, and I enjoy doing this for you guys.
Coop, always good having you, brother.
Take care, bud.
Right, I'll see you guys around.
All right, man.
Well, Coach, how you been doing, brother?
Man, I've been busy all day, man. These coaching clinics, man, they are driving me crazy. I mean, but it's a great thing to be involved in. A lot of coaches in the region and everything, man, getting ready to do summer workouts and summer training, a lot of 7-on-7. So just trying to stay busy. Other than that, man, just trying to take a little breather from from the podcast, man. It's just so overwhelming. And then I have another job. I took a new job, so it's very demanding. So
yeah, well, as the same with Coop, you've done a lot for my channel, Coach, and I always appreciate your time when you do come on. And
always, man. Like I said, we all family. We all family and everything, man. And like I was trying to tell Jay and Jason and Bishop and everything, man, I might bicker. I might get upset. I might be childish at times and everything, man. But at the same point in time, man, it's all out of love and everything, man. So it's all good.
Well, to piggyback off what we was talking about, the Knowles thing, Coach, I would be excited as hell for him to come in.
Don't you think it's looking that way the longer it's dragging out?
Coach, I put out a video earlier today, and I stated in my video that I thought that as soon as Wes Goodwin was fired from Clemson with the BV connection and the 4 horsemen, done deal. Didn't happen. Number 2, go with hire within Brandon Hall. He's an experienced defensive coordinator at Troy, damn good defensive coordinator. Hasn't happened. Well, fast forward to a couple of days ago, and Coach Knowles is getting interviewed, and they asked him about the rumors about which they're going to do coaches talk. I understand that, but he deflected the question.
Yeah,
I'm focused on winning the national championship against Notre Dame next week.
Yeah,
he has ties to Oklahoma. I'm not going to mention who, but he has ties to Oklahoma. So I'm looking at the tea leaves. The longer this drags out, the more my confidence goes up getting Jim Knowles.
Well, if you look at it from if we want to do, as they all want to say, analytics, analytics is something and everything, man, that will pretty much define or tell you what you should or what might happen. So let's just put it out there what it is. If it would have been anybody else, they would have been named by now,
Yeah.
because you want to get continuity in everything. You want to get everyone on the same page. You want to get everybody thinking the same thing. You want them to get the schemes down. So there's only two left.
Mm-hmm.
We know he's not going after Notre Dame's defensive coordinator. All right. But I don't know. It's not Tom Allen and everything. Excuse me. He's already at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who else is out there? So we're turning over all these rocks and try to figure out who's doing what and what's doing what behind closed doors. I know for a fact that Wes is coming. There was a seminar that was here that I think one of his I want to say one of his people that he looks up to, one of his mentors, was giving a seminar in Charlotte last week when my nephew was here, and that was the talk of the town. Where is Wes Goodwin going? Is he, because there was some ties that he might be going to North Carolina or South Carolina? No, he's just waiting to find out what BB's going to do and which direction he's going to go.
Right.
So I think it is Knowles, because all reports have stated that him and Larry Johnson do not get along.
Exactly.
If I'm at a place and it's cancerous or something that is now allowing me to do my job to the best of my ability and giving me great health and great sense of urgency, I'm gone. Plus, if my family's not there, it's easy for me to go back to where my family is. So all points are pointing that way, but that's just my thought. There is no evidence behind it. There is no proof behind it. There is no that someone made. I'm just saying, the longer it drags out, it looks that way. And it's a yes or no question. If you ask me, Will, are you going to work tomorrow? Yes. I'm not going to say, well, I'm not going to talk about that. I need to talk about what's going on tonight. That's a BS question. That's a BS answer. It's a yes or no. Yes
Simple
or no.
Yes or no.
By you not saying no, it leaves doubt.
It does. And Coach, I hate to bring this up, but we've seen this. We've been through this dance before.
We've seen two assholes and everything look us in our face and tell us, no, we're not going nowhere, and their ass was gone.
And they were gone.
One like a thief in the night, and then the other one and everything jumped on the damn bandwagon. So
exactly.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't know. We all don't know.
No.
It's just pointing in the right direction. Even if we don't get him, if we get Wes, we're still going to be in the same predicament. I think Wes is a great damn defensive coordinator. He just did not have the horses to compete, and now he will.
Yeah. I mean, what did Coach? Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
I'm Jim Knowles.
Okay.
And I'm sitting here, possibly going to go to the University of Oklahoma. I'm reading my roster. If OU's roster, what is not to like about this defense coming into this year?
Well, it's the uncertainty of,
I'm talking about player wise.
Well, I'm gonna answer it like a coach.
Okay, go ahead, Coach.
All right. If I'm a guy that did not recruit any of these guys, I have concerns. Are they the guys that can run my scheme? If I don't know the ins and outs of these guys. I don't know if these guys and everything, what makes them tick. Do they have great work ethic? Do they like to be coached hard? Right? So there are so many things that goes into evaluating a player. You can't just say, oh, he's a 5-star, give me him. Some damn 5 stars ain't 5 stars. They're just at the right time, right place, right location. That's it. But I think Jim Knowles and everything, man, it's not really a downgrade that much, because Oklahoma defense was at least in the top 3 or 4 in the SEC. Even with a down year, even with a atrocious and trash ass offense, they still were in the high 1 to 4 in the top defense in the SEC. So with
Right.
new regime at offense coming in with all the weapons, the number 1 recruiting portal quarterback, you got all the weapons around him, 11 offensive linemen that have had time or 2 last year returning, great leadership on defense. Why wouldn't you come?
Exactly.
Now that's not. Now if Ohio State, if he doesn't come, Wes Goodwin's gonna think the same thing. I finally got the pieces that Dabo didn't give me to evaluate my resume. So now I can go in here and do that with the gentleman that I know. Now, he knows what BV is looking for. He knows the kind of guys that BV likes, those 6'4", 6'5", hybrid, 250, 260-pound guys. So we'll see. We'll see, man. Like I said, I just want to try to keep it honest because I don't want to jump the gun and say, oh, yeah, they're doing this and doing that, and then it doesn't happen. I'm just really believing in everything, man, that a change is coming. This will be the first time we've had I feel like we're going to keep these defensive and offensive coordinators longer than 2 years. We've never had a set of coordinators since BV has been here longer than 2 years.
I know. It seems like we're running them through the car wash, but I'll tell you, but Coach, you're exactly right. Last year, I want to use your terminology. Our offense was on 4 flat tires, a bad squeegee, and a mop.
Hell yeah.
But yet our defense, I feel like, played some doggone ball in spite of. If we would have had 1/3 or 1/4 of the offensive production that we had last year, we would have been in some. We would have won some more games last year. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I think Coop had it right. When you have the thinking of an offensive coordinator who plays against Oklahoma, he knows, but hell, they ain't gonna score that many damn points. I can open this damn playbook and do every damn thing I want and everything because I'm going to try to wear their defense down because I know for a fact the offense ain't worth shit. And that's sad to say at the University of Oklahoma. Who has had the scoring record in college football for a season or 2 under Kevin Wilson. So I don't understand how we got far left, but we wanted to fix the defense so bad that we literally gave away our offense to inherit a defense.
Now, here's my question, Coach. And this one's, I've scratched all the hair off the top of my head. I'm bald on top now. Why is Joe John Finley still here?
Man, that is a damn good question. But like I said, man, if he's a great recruiter, he's no longer calling. Okay, let me put it like this. And maybe it'll help fans out. He is no longer calling offense. That is a plus. Okay. He can go out and recruit great tight ends, as you can see from Mitchell. I guess they feel like, why rock the boat? He's back at his position. He'll never call a game again for us. So let's leave him where he is. And Chuck, I agree with you. BV stands up for his coordinators, even though they're trash.
Yeah.
So I think now here's the point that I want everybody to take into consideration. If Arbuckle comes in here and it's lights out, OU's back up, and they finish 10-2 or 11-1, everyone's gonna forget all about Joe John Finley.
Yeah, they sure will.
They're gonna forget about Chuck, because that Bauer Sharp was a great tight end. They just used his ass wrong. He is not a speedy receiver. He got
No.
2 cement boots on, and they both left foot. So he just run around in circles. So he just, I mean, I'm hoping, man, that he learned his lesson, man, to say that is something that I'm not ready for. Now, we're not hearing that job no more for him about Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
We're not hearing that job no more.
Mm-mm.
So, do you think Purdue just reneged?
I
And
think after
we
I
seen
think after
enough.
I think Purdue seen enough and said, nah, we don't want to go with this. Hello, Bishop.
What's good? What's good?
Oh, we just sitting here cussing and discussing.
I hear you.
Hey,
I'm
man,
not trying to interrupt. Y'all go ahead. I'll
no, what was
jump
up
in
with your
there.
phone today?
Do what?
Don't ask. Don't
I was
look.
calling you, and this is exactly what it said. I call you, it was like not available.
Hey, me and the phone are having a fire test, and we're trying to see who's gonna break first.
Poopy diaper, Bishop. Poopy diaper.
Oh man, don't. Coach, you
Oh,
don't have a clue. I done went through every possible scenario, then I go sit down. So okay, fire test it is.
all
Well,
right. If
Bishop,
if
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, if we're going to try to put everything in a big old circle and look at it through an hourglass, what do you? Okay, let me put it like this: one, who do you see as OU's defensive coordinator? 2, what do you think OU record will be next year? 3, do you think Oklahoma makes the CFP next year?
Okay, I'll let you start, Bishop, since you came in. I'll take the floor.
Yeah, predicated on what we have right now and what we're building, and the continuity having the full potential of someone who, on both sides of the ball, understand the game plan and can implement it. There's a high probability of playoffs. But I understand we got to take each and every game, one game at a time. And what was the other question?
First one was, who will Oklahoma's defensive coordinator be? Second question.
In my instance, I really leaning toward Jim Knowles, but not predicated of anything that I know. I just get a gut feeling that if we lasted this long with everything before us, then undoubtedly waiting for a reason. And go ahead.
Do you guys think that if we don't get Knowles, that Goodwin just gonna fit in?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because see, the thing about it is we already have the actual nucleus here. We just need someone who knows how to make adjustments and game plan when necessary. And so, and then on top of that, you're gonna have 2 elite, depending on whoever it is. You're gonna have a defensive coordinator that's been there and done that, that's now evolving as a head coach, and then you're gonna have the actual defensive coordinator there that has done it. And either which way. So when you look at it, hey, there's no way but to go but up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told you, I agree with Kim. Like I said, once you know that he's not calling plays no more, you can let him sit back into his role.
Exactly. Well, and I'm going to piggyback off of you, Coach. Look at the Jimmys and Joes, Arbuckle before Mateer.
Dude, shit.
Look
He never
at the
had
Jimmy.
anything close to what Oklahoma has.
No. And you couple that with Mateer, and for the 7 hours I watched that I nerded out on Arbuckle on YouTube watching his play calling, dude, I tell this Bishop, I got to keep it inside. I can't.
Hey, did you guys hear what Jason said and the guy that was on the show, Chris
I did.
Chris, about when JJ showed up to his campus?
Mm-mm.
Oh, go ahead.
They didn't know how big he was. They were like, yeah, damn, he big.
Oh yeah.
Physical.
Damn.
Big.
Physical.
Big.
Not only that is that we have people that have been looked down upon, and you never know a heart of a champion how it's built when they're not in the limelight and they're still working the same way as if they're in the light. The
Mhm.
truth will come to the light.
And there again, and I'm just going to say this on JJ's behalf. You can look at a player like JJ, whether they're that where they come to from a smaller college. I'll just say that. And you can look and tell if they're going to be good at the D1 schools.
Yeah.
You can they got that what you and Bishop would call, they got that it factor, the swag,
Yeah.
the tools.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Giovanni is going to succeed here at OU. Just
Yeah.
from what
And Coach Rick, I know he's family, but he has that same it factor that Scatterbo.
Yeah.
He knew who he was, and he didn't try to get outside of that, but he played within the parameters of who he was.
Yeah.
And we are absolutely blessed to receive him because the best is yet to come. Because now he will be in a potential to actually showcase what he's been doing.
Yeah.
right.
Hey, I believe T Boomer. Well, I have a little bit more invested in it for T Boomer for that reason. But I pray every day, man, that he allow himself to be humble and just
Yeah.
go out there and work. I'm
Yeah.
I'm a real big believer, man, that when you show up every day and you do your best and you put your best foot forward, hard work beats talent every day. But
Yeah.
if you're talented and you work hard, that's dangerous
Yeah.
because now you're not going to outwork me. You're not going to out hustle me. So let's get out here and see what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody is not even thinking about JJ. They're not even thinking about Jordan. They're not even thinking about Cortez. They're not even thinking about those guys
Yeah.
because they came from places that were not a blue blood. I don't give a damn if you come from a place and everything, man. They got 4 flat tires and the rims missing. As long as you get out there, man, and you bust your butt, man, I'll
That's
take
right.
talent over hard. I'll take talent and hard work every day. But I
Hmm.
love hard work because I can mold you and build you into what I want you to be.
And I also like the players that has the chip on their shoulder.
Oh,
Being
Yeah.
told,
and he
being,
got one.
being
And
told
he got one.
yeah,
Yeah.
told they wouldn't be good enough because they're at a lower level college or no matter what, that you'll never them's the kinds of players I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
Well,
we will
you
see.
know, the simple fact is that I think we've seen this in a quarterback that came out of Texas Tech that betted on himself when
Yeah,
he didn't get an offer, but yet he walked on when someone was already QB1.
yeah, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Ain't that interesting?
Mm-hmm. And told
And
Trevor Knight
understand, hey, he
now.
still got to prove it on the field. He still got to get it done. But understand, he's now in the laboratory. Now it's up to him on what he decides to present to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just thankful that we got the right offensive coordinator that understands how to put a game plan together to
Yes,
allow his components and his pieces to go out and shine.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like the fact, going back to Baker, he told Trevor Knight, I'm going to take your job. Told him
Hey,
straight up, I'm
hey,
going to
Eric.
take you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mike. He said, Eric says, if the rims are missing, how do you know that the tires are flat? Because the tires ain't there.
Because the tires ain't
It's an
it's
old
on
saying.
blocks, ain't it, Coach?
It's an old saying that we said back in the back of the woods and everything. You know, like another saying is, we go back like two flat tires on a Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
We go back like LTD last $2. You know, so the old sayings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, don't let the
And
bush fool you, man. I'm a backwoods boy, man. I grew up.
there you go.
I grew up in the country. I milked cows and had
Yeah.
chicken eggs and everything. Trust me, man. I'm old school.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? The X factor this upcoming year is going to be our lines, offense and
Mm-hmm.
defensive lines. Because as they go, we go.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw how important it is to pay attention, make sure we get that right before we go to all this other. Because if they give us time and then they put pressure on the other side, hey, it's nothing better than that. Because then you cause you open holes and you close down holes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the X factor.
Tell me this. How did this big feller at OU wind up on a tennis team and not playing football? I don't know his name, but he was on Twitter. He is a big him, and he's playing tennis.
Well, you know
How
what?
did we let him?
It's some kids and some people, man, have a religion to where they can't play football. They can't play any kind of physical sport. Any kind of physical sport.
I know. Good God.
Yeah.
Could you imagine slamming you with a tennis racket? That ball coming at you like Nolan Ryan?
Oh,
Shoot.
Wow.
I was looking at stats today, like pretty much like I always do. And do you guys know where Oklahoma ranked as a team for tackles for loss?
No, where did they rank, Coach?
No, please let us know.
In the top 10.
Really?
Top 10. And do you know who out of 125 people in the college football of all the teams, you know where R. Mason Thomas finished?
Probably fifth in the top 5, at least.
No, out of 121 players, stat wise.
I think he finished second, right?
No. Out of 125 players,
wow.
He finished 49th.
Oh wow.
He had 13 tackles for loss.
Wow.
Oh, I'm thinking of sacks. You're right. Thank you, Coach, for correcting me. I'm thinking of sacks. Yeah, you're right.
No, 13 tackles for loss. So I tell people all the time, man, is that when we start breaking down footage and stats and accolades and all that, Oklahoma, even though as bad as the offense was, you have key members on the defensive side that had highly high statistical stats in the college football league and everything, man. So I just want people to understand, just because Oklahoma was bad on offense and we went 6-7, yes, we went 6-7.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in everything that won't happen no more.
Mm-mm. How about Jaden Jackson and G Baby and Dominic Williams? I mean, we had that defensive line was they were pretty salty this year, in my opinion.
Yeah. How about David Stone?
David Stone.
Nigel. See, the thing is, we get to have them, but then we get the young bucks that's been in the laboratory grinding, that's waiting for their opportunity, and they're gonna take their moment. Man, competitive depth 2.0.
I'm ready to see me some Danny Okoye this year.
I am too. I'm hearing some major things behind the scene with Okoye. So
good or bad?
No, it's real good.
Oh.
He knows the playbook, and he's going to that next level.
Let me tell you something. Okoye reminds me of a 2-year-old thoroughbred racehorse fixing to break his maiden at his first race. And I tell you what, when Okoye comes out of that starting gate, when he gets his chance, all I say is look out. And who's ever in his way, you're going to hurt. You're going to feel it.
Well, there's a lot of players on Oklahoma's team, man. Right now.
Yeah, and that's just not Okoye. I mean, it's all of them, Coach. I'm just using Okoye as an example.
Can I ask you guys a question? When was the last time Oklahoma, and this is being real,
Okay.
had major talent on both sides of the football?
Man.
Ooh. It had to be during Stoops.
Matter of fact, Stoops last year, Samaje P. Ryan,
Last year.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon,
17.
Westbrook,
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield. Then
Joe
on the
Mixon.
defensive side, you had Evans.
Kenneth Murphy, was he still there?
The linebacker. Oh God, brain fart.
Eric Striker.
Well, Striker was
No,
still there.
Striker was before that. How about Kenneth Murray? Was he?
No,
Was he there?
Jordan Evans.
Jordan Evans.
Jordan
Middle
Evans.
linebacker.
You're right, Coach.
Middle linebacker.
You're right.
And then we had. Well, I can't get them all. I had them all wrote down, and I didn't bring the paper out. I was talking about it earlier. They had a total of 7 Big 12 offensive players on the offensive side. And they had 5 Big 12 defensive players on the defense.
Was Zach Sanchez on that same team?
No, he was gone already.
Okay.
He was gone already. I got to pull that up, man, because I was looking about that, and it just blown my mind. But Samaje P. Ryan and Joe Mixon were the 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And then you got D.D. Westbrook. Then you got Baker Mayfield. Oh, and I didn't even mention the Swiss Army knife, Flowers.
Yeah, Dimitri Flowers.
Oh man, Dimitri Flowers and 13 on defense.
Oh gosh, what was his name?
Dude, I had it all wrote down. It was.
I know. Look.
I was
We are like,
and it was 6 on offense. But that was the last
Joaquin
time.
Iglesias wasn't that bad of a player either.
No, but Stanson, I agree with you, man. Stiegel, 2017 should have won a natty. Absolutely.
Yeah. No ifs.
Lincoln showed that he was a young coach.
Mm-hmm.
That was. I believe this. If Bob would have stayed one more year,
he'd have got a natty.
Because Bob would have taught him. It's hard, man, to teach someone how to be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
You know, either it's in you or it's not in you. A leader is, of course, he's a leader. He's not a follower. I think Lincoln was a follower trying to be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And when it didn't work out for him, he just jumped ship.
Yeah.
And went to where the grass is greener, and it was greener for a year, and then after that it went to shit.
Yep.
So before I get off here, man, I just wanted to see what you guys thought on tomorrow's game.
I'm gonna go Ohio State. I said this last week. I've got a 35-28 Ohio State.
Hold on, Bishop. Is Kimberly K still in
here? Somewhere, I think. I don't know.
Kimberly K, if you still in here, give me a thumbs up. She got her shirt yesterday.
Awesome.
That's awesome. She got lucky because Garrett and his wives, mine, yours, and Bishop got put on back order. I said, ain't that a damn shame? She got hers before I got mine. I believe she's in here. She said she sent me a text today, an email, said that she got it, and she said that she loves it. It looks great. So I was trying to get her to show it in here if she had it and everything. But
Mhm.
Coach, how many kids from small schools did OU sign this year? I want to say at least 6.
Yeah, I thought it was 6 or 7.
Is it 6 or
Yeah.
7, Nathan? Nathan, is it 6 or 7? I believe it's 6 or 7. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, Nathan, because I don't have no look. My thing is blank. I don't have no notes, no nothing wrote down because it was movie night with the wife, and she sent me out to go get a Walmart order. And I came back home and I've been on here ever since, man. So I might be in trouble, but oh well. 2016, you had a good all defense. We would have won the Natty because you have Baker, Westbrook, Perron, Mixon, Flowers, Mikael, yes,
Michael,
Michael Jones, and Geno Lewis. That was a stacked offense, yes.
Yeah.
But as long as Lincoln was there, I think Arbuckle is a better human being version of Lincoln.
hmm
I can't see him leaving Oklahoma the way Lincoln did because the way his wife loves OU.
yeah, and that I might joke about this, but his play calling and winning is going to determine him sleeping on the couch or sleeping in the bed.
Boy, that's a bad combination, boy. You call a jet sweep if you want to and they get a sack, boy, you're gonna be not downstairs on the couch, you're gonna be up in the basement.
Yeah, you gonna be in mhm,
The attic.
the attic.
I got Ohio State
Okay.
34. And I got Notre Dame 28.
34-28.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you got, Bishop?
I got
Jimmy said doghouse.
man, oh man, this is gonna be a tight game. Um I'm pulling for the upset. For some reason I feel that Notre Dame being able to muddy up the water, take some things from Michigan. 21-17, Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. Cool, Bishop.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard because
It is.
you're talking about two teams that they believe in their philosophies and have shown the proof.
Exactly.
So now it's just being able to put it on the field. I just think though, I don't know. It's one of those deals that, hey, that's where I'm leaning toward.
You see this, Bishop? Let me try to get it in the camera. I had to flip that to see who I was going to pick.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
gonna be a close game, man. Everybody thinks it's gonna be a blowout, but it's gonna be a close game.
Well, put it like this: I wish the Sooners were in one of their slots. How about that? One
we'll see you later.
opportunity, man.
I don't know,
So
man. I don't think they're ready yet, man. I think that eventually we will get there. I just think that we're not ready yet, to be honest.
yeah, I understand.
I'm trying to see these last 3 minutes of this ball game, man. I can't believe that my team is down, man.
We can't have that.
Oh no, it's Baltimore. Baltimore.
They're down, huh?
They're down,
Yeah.
man. They're trying to it's the last 3 minutes and some change, man, and they're marching. They're down by 8. They stopped them on the 4th. They had first and
Yeah.
2 on the 2-yard line, and they held them to get a field goal. So that helped. But
Well,
Yeah, man.
Coach Bishop, I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on. I'm going to have to
Yeah.
jump out here. And Bishop, you ready for Mike and Mike tomorrow? 3:30 usual time, sir.
Yes, sir.
Coach Ricks, if you happen to be around, that'll be around.
I'll be in Raleigh, North Carolina, in another clinic, man. We are traveling
Okay.
tomorrow.
All
Me and
righty.
like 10 coaches.
I got it.
All righty. But hey, I appreciate you allowing me to come on, Mike.
Oh, Bishop, anytime you're welcome on this channel anytime you want to, brother.
Hey,
All right.
Kim Hurst, Jimmy, Nathan, all you guys, man. Comanche
Oh,
Sooner, man. Y'all guys have a wonderful night, man. We'll see
You
you
too,
guys
Coach.
next time, man.
we'll see you on the next one.
All right, y'all
Y'all
take care.
care.
All right.
Boomer.
Boomer.
Sooner.